Hello, today we are doing 1.4 rounding, and the first thing we're going to talk about here is rounding rules. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil ready to take some notes. Okay, our first rounding rule here is 0 through 4 makes us round down, 5 through 9 makes us round up. So just write those two things on your paper now, and then we'll talk about how that works with our number 27 here. Okay, for my number 27 here, we're going to round to the nearest 10. So the first thing you do when you round, if we're rounding to the nearest 10, is we're going to underline the tens place on this number. So you can see here the 2 is in the tens place, so I'm going to underline the 2. Now what that means is we're either going to round 27 to 20, which would be the nearest 10 on the low side, or we're going to round that number to 30, which would be the nearest 10 on the high side. Because we can see again, the 2 in the tens place, if we were to make this number get smaller, the closest 10 would be 20, and if we were to make this number larger to the nearest 10, it would be 30. So if you look here, we'll put this on the number line, and we can see there is 27 right now. We're trying to find out which one is 27 closer to, the 20 or the 30. Now here's where our rule comes in. If we look at the number next to the 2 that we underlined here is a 7. And that 7 tells us to round up, or that 27 on our number line here is closer to 30. And you can see 27 is only 1, 2, 3 spots away from 30, while it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spots away from 20. So that 7 does tell us that by rounding up, 27 is closer to 30. I know it's a little confusing, so let's try a few together. Okay, let's look at the number 67 here. With 67, we're going to do the same thing we did. Oops, I'm making the number smaller. We're going to do the same thing we did on the last one, and we're going to underline the tens place first. So we can see here the 6 is in the tens place. Now we're going to do the same thing we did before. We'll draw that arrow over to the next place, and so we're going to ask ourselves, is 67, is it closer to 60, where we would round down, or is this number going to get one larger and turn to 70, where we'll round up? And that 7 again here tells us 5 through 9, 7's between 5 and 9, that we're going to round up, where 67 is going to round to 70. Let me give you a few to try on your own. Okay, here are the numbers 43 and 78. Pause the video and try to round both of these numbers to the nearest 10. The nearest 10. Pause now. Okay, so if we're going to round both of these, if I'm rounding 43 to the nearest 10, I'm going to underline the tens place, and then draw the arrow to the next place over. And so then again, my two choices here are going to be that 4 will stay the same and it will stay 40, or that 4 will go up 1 to 5 and it will be 50. And the 3, because it's between the 0 and 4 here, tells me that this is going to round down or round to 40. Now if we look at our next one here, 78, underline that 7, look at the 8, so is it going to stay a 7 and be 70? Or is that 7 going to go up 1 to an 8 and be 80? Well, because the 8 here is between 5 and 9, that is going to round up and be 80. So if you did those correct, you would have gotten a 40 and an 80. Now I'm going to give you an example in the hundreds place for you to try. Okay, now we're looking at 385 here, and we're going to round this one, but instead of rounding to the tens place, we are going to round to the hundreds place. So first thing I'm going to do, same as before, is I'm going to underline the number that's in the hundreds place, which would be the 3 here, and then draw an arrow to the next number over. And just the same as before, will that 3 stay a 3 and be 300? Or go to 4 and be 400? And you'll have to go to the next video to find out what happens next.